Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 3 of the Rich Energy British Mini Bikes Championship. And we are here at a very busy Whilton Mill Circuit for this third round, very popular track with the riders. As you can see from this superb drone footage, Group A, let's have a look at how they lined up in the morning qualifying. Riders will be out in just a few moments, and this is how they line up. We've got Ryan Tyres on pole with 52.727. And a few unidentified riders making up the positions up to 4th place. Chase Collymore, one of the established names, in 5th position. Brad Copland in 6th place. 7th was James Mostica. Chloe Jones in 8th position, who we spoke to earlier. Jake Whittaker in 9th. Phil Dickens in 10th. Ben Clucas. And another unidentified rider we'll find out later, rounding up the top 12. John Buckle, Jamie Callan in 14th place. A bit further down, Ben Rayer in 16th position. James O'Hanlon in 17th from Ben Johnson. 19th was Mike Smallbone, Scott McGiven in 20th place, Andrew Jones, Sebastian Barron 22nd, Louise Webster and Nathan Summers taking us down to 24th position. Big group of riders here, of course: Alan Armstrong, Carl Sanders, Dean Quincy in 27th, Dougie Craven 28th. 30 rider grid, and it's all going to be very important on that first lap as the riders take to the track now to warm up. And we've got some established names out here. Once again though, Jake, the first lap is going to be very important indeed with so many riders out on the track.
Well, absolutely, and of course we're in the third weekend of the series, so it's going to be that battle again, isn't it, between Ryan Tyres and Jim Lovell that will take full focus. Dominic Herbertson doing a very good job from his first 2 weekends. Herbertson right up in the mix there, within the top 5 in both races. And of course Jamie Callan is going to be one to watch out for. He's not had a great qualifying performance though. Starts down in 14th on the grid, so he's got some time to make up. So expect some overtakes from him. He's 4th in the standings at the moment after a really solid effort to start the season with. Jake Whittaker's gone reasonably well. 9th on the grid is not quite where he wants to be, but he's there or thereabouts. And again, a strong performance last time out at Leeds, so expect him to be one of the riders who'll make up some good ground. But a lot of this comes down to strategy, how they've gone in terms of their tyre pressures, and they need to get it right straight out of the blocks. It's not going to be easy to predict this one.
Well, here we go. This first lap, I think first 2 laps especially, very important. And for those riders who failed to get the qualifying performance they wanted, they'll be looking to get the setup on the bike correct. And certainly in bike racing, the first 2 laps incredibly important, just to make as many positions as possible, get away from that midfield and up towards the front. Last few riders now taking their positions on the grid. We should be underway in just a few moments. Looking at the footage, it looks like the riders are ready. The green flag is about to drop, and Pitbike Stock 160 Group A gets underway. Good start there from the 1-2-3. Ryan Tyres getting away well down the inside and has taken the corner. So Ryan Tyres, your early race leader. Everyone filters through Fair Lady for the first time. Seems like a clean start as he got towards Christmas for the first time. Jim Lovell in there as well on the 97. And here they pile into Christmas for the first time. This really technical part on the top of the circuit. Down the hill now towards Ashby, and everyone has just about got through safely.
Oh, nice move from Lovell. Sorry, Lovell straight up there into 2nd position, gets the run, and it's a really bold manoeuvre there past the rider on the inside line there to get the overtaking move, and it's not easy to hold on to in this first lap, but Lovell's got plenty of strength. He's just caught the curb on the exit of Chapman though. That's going to unsettle the bike a little bit as they come up to the toe of the boot, but he seems to have plenty of strength and confidence in the bike as they complete the lap. But it's a really good run from Lovell. Now he's got to try and chase down Ryan Tyres, and that's no easy task.
So Ryan Tyres certainly getting the jump on the field first time round. Very quick opening lap. But Lovell in 2nd position. The rest of the field make their way through. Rest of the top 10 made up. Brad Copland into 4th. James Mostica, Chase Jones and Chase Collymore in there. The number 7 a bit further down. There he is having a look down the inside. And he almost pulled that one off. Chase Collymore, an established youth rider, now making his name in the adult categories and starting to pressure the leaders. Jake Whittaker and Phil Dickens on the 51 in there as well. And we just saw Phil Dickens actually towards the back of the top 10 with the 51. There he is, 84 in there as well of Ben Clucas. So some established names battling away on the edge of the top 10, and it's very close indeed in this battle, just at the edge of the top 10.
So in terms of the points positions, obviously it's a very difficult situation for a couple of the riders out there as they push for procedure. There is the 71 pushing through, I think that is. No, sorry, that's the 121 even. That's Whittaker battling away with Dickens. 2 riders that are trying to make up some ground after difficult qualifying sessions. They are 5th and 7th in the standings respectfully, and Dickens has now got into that 8th position spot past Whittaker, so they're tuning away for position. There's Lovell in front of the 123 as they continue to battle away for position there. So a very close run from those riders as they run in formation. A very, very difficult start to proceedings there for Lovell, who had to fight his way through into second position on the first lap, but he's already now lost about a second out to Ryan Tyers up front. Even though there's 9.5 laps essentially remaining in this one, that's a big gap and a big deficit to try and come back. 1 second around this place is not easy to find when you've got a rider as smooth and serene as Ryan Tyers in a decent position. And now that the circuit is a bit more bone dry, you're going to see the Ryan Tyers who bolts from the blue and disappears out in front. He's not going to be easy to catch.
Ryan Tyers certainly has got this one drilled at the moment. 52.884 last time round, fastest lap of the race, and leads by 1.5 seconds. The rest of the top 10 make their way through. There goes Chase Collymore. Chloe Jones, actually a rider on the move, getting past Phil Dickens up to 7th
that's
place.
For second.
Oh, it's getting
that's for
close
second.
now. Yeah, this is the 97. Lovell past now for second position, and we'll have a look down the inside into Ashby, but the second place, 1, 2, 3 has got that line covered, holding on to that second position, and now starting to close up on the race leader Ryan Tyers, although there's a rider in trouble at Christmas Corner, not bothering the leaders, of course. Ryan Tyers at the moment, 52.884 last time round, has held on to the lead, and well, Ryan Tyers looking good on this one. Chloe Jones and Chase Collymore starting to make their way through the top 10 as well, as we've got the 8 lap to go marker. Ryan Tyers, there he is, the 55, looking strong at the front.
We finally know the identity of the 123. It's Stevenson. I thought it was a familiar rider. I just couldn't quite make it out, and unfortunately I'm still one of those people who's been out of the seat for about 9 months with the BMB, so it's hard to remember everybody. But Lovell and Stevenson having that terrific battle for second place. Stevenson did make the jump past initially, but Lovell is now getting back into it, as there is the battle further down. This is Whitaker just in front of, I can't quite make out the number of that particular bike. And again, it's one of the transponders that's yet to update. So Dickens and Whitaker are in the mix there. But look at this little squabble further back. This is for about 9th position, 10th position. A great little duel, as we've got 3 or 4 riders now really squabbling it out in the mix there. And that's Buckle, I think, in the middle of it, the number 20. And he's obviously got a really tough run behind from the 84 in the mix there.
That's Ben Klukas involved in that mix. This is just on the edge of the top 10. And actually, Reece Stevenson, we were talking about a moment ago on the 1, 2, 3. That's a rider who really gave it a go at the Pro-Am race at Ella Park, the first race of the year. There's a few established road racers and BSB riders there, and Stevenson's certainly making a mark for himself in that race, and incidentally has set the fastest lap of the race.
I'm fairly sure this is his first pit bike race of the season, isn't it? He hasn't done the pit bike class yet.
He's done a couple earlier. He was looking good at the start of the year. He was in the Pro-Am race as well, and he's certainly making people stand up and take notes at the moment, because looking very competitive in front of a very strong race category.
So the battle really intensifying in the mid-pack there. I think we just saw a move in the middle of the field. I think that was Clark on Dickens. But still a really intense battle, as Buckle there is trying to drop Ben Klukas, who is still right in the mix there, trying to duel his way further forward as they try and close up on the bottom end of the top 10. The likes of Dickens, Clark and Whitaker all having a nice little shufti as round the outside. Was that the move there from Buckle on Whitaker?
Here we see the battle of the second, which is starting to hot up here now. Reece Stevenson still in 3rd place, battling away. He's up to second now.
He has got through to second, yeah. He's made the move. I think he must have done that out of Oblivion and Crook.
Link, yeah, it was on the exit of the corner, it seemed. He seemed to have that one drilled. Now, the gap here, just under 2.3 seconds, you could say, from Ryan Tyers, the race leader. Jim Lovell tagging on to the back of Reece Stevenson here as they try to close up on the race leader. There's still time here, 5.5 laps effectively to go in this one. There's the 1, 2, 3 of Stevenson. But you would say Jim Lovell in 3rd still looks threatening, trying to find some pace around the outside of the boot complex here into the final corner. And here, Jake, this is a case now. You're just getting the sacrifice some pace through the corner to get the speed on the exit.
Yeah, there's not a lot of space to get this wrong, so you've really got to trust the bike, essentially, when you get on the throttle and take a wider berth. Stevenson's doing the right thing here. He's cutting across Lovell's path up to the braking zone, so there's no real way for him to dive up the inside without unsettling the rhythm of the bike. And so Lovell's got to do a much harder job to keep in front of Reece Stevenson here. He's got to try and get back on terms with him to start with, and at the moment they are close enough that there's going to be a little bit of a Barney if they're not careful. But the leader, I should say, Tyers, is actually in amongst traffic now. Now this is the essential part of the battle for the riders up at the front end. You've got to be so careful when you try and work your way through the traffic. But Lovell and Stevenson are pushing each other so hard, they've dropped the rest of the field by a good dozen seconds or so. Mostica, Collymore and Jones all there in the battle for the top 6 as Lovell gets very badly balked in there behind one of the back markers. That was a very close run thing. He was lucky there not to get taken off the bike completely. And now as they pick their way through back markers, this is where Lovell can really respond quite quickly to the move up the inside line. But they've got to be very focused on how they get that done. Full credit to Carl Sanders. He got out of the way nice and easy. But these two are really starting to up the ante. And they need to turn the dial up to 11. Oh, he's lost it. Lovell's gone off.
Lovell's gone off. Just seems to lose traction there through Ashby. Rider okay, let's have a look at that again down on the run into Ashby, and just seemed to almost just ground out on the corner there in that battle. Now, of course, the issue here, of course, in the battle for second place, as there we see a bit of turf on the back there, but the bike's okay. We'll pick him up on the lap chart in a few moments. And Lovell, he seems okay, just seemed to get back into pace. The bike's okay. There's a bit of turf there on the rear hub, but everything seems okay. Ryan Tyers still your leader. 52.501 last time round, and we're just going to see what's going on. There's the 55 of Tyers picking his way through the tail enders now. And of course, the hardest part here for the leader, the gap 3.4 seconds at the moment. Tyers has got a cushion here, but of course, when the first rider comes through these tail enders, who of course are all battling for their own positions further down the field, once the leader gets through here, it's a case that the slow riders are aware, of course, that faster riders are coming through. So this leader has got to make his presence felt here. Of course, no blue flags, so it's a case of just getting in there and getting the decisive moves to overtake these riders.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of blue flags. They only came around in the mid-90s, and it hasn't exactly done a massive... it hasn't made a massive difference to the world of motorsport, in my opinion, but I always find it's a lot tougher without them, and you can tell that these riders are a lot more grounded, they're a lot more calculated, they're having to be a little bit smarter on their feet, trying to make their way through the back markers. Look at Tyers, look, he's just trying to knit his way on the inside line. He has to change lines midway round the turn there to avoid some of the melee in there. It was Matt Lockyer that he was trying to get around, and he's now managed to do that. Next up on the line is Gav Tappenden. He gets through there, no problem at all. Past the 13 now. That is Gav Tappenden, because he's on a 13 bike rather than a 43 today. That's his number, but he's on a 13 bike. But astonishingly, Stevenson in second place in front of Lovell. But when Lovell dropped the bike, he's rejoined in third place. He didn't lose ground to Mostica. Mostica's still there in P4.
It's the bike didn't lose the bike, so he was able to hop straight back on the machine and get back underway. Here we see the battle just on the edge of the top 10. That was the Ben Ray as well, number 141. In there as well as we go to the last lap. And of course, these riders further down the field, they should finish on the lead lap here. They're still quite a bit down the track ahead of the race leader Ryan Tyers, who all the action has been behind Tyers throughout the race and maintains that gap, 4.2 seconds. Lovell and Stevenson battling away, of course, for that second place. Lovell dropping the bike, but like you say, of course, Jake didn't lose much time in there, so certainly staying amongst the leaders, but it's all been about the 55 of Ryan Tyers making his way through boot towards there for the final time, down the back straight, and we should be seeing him down by the finish very shortly indeed. Here he comes down the back straight for the final time. Clear track behind him, clear track in front of him, 55. Ryan Tyers looks almost certain to be your race winner. Just got to get through boot for the final time, nice and easy, round the final corner, and the first race win of the day for the 55. Ryan Tyers, nice and smooth over the line there. It was a tough race, but he had that one well and truly dialed.
What a season he's having. He's absolutely marching to the title in 2020. He's taken everything in his stride over the course of the first 3 weekends of the year, and he's got another victory in his pocket now. It's hard to suggest him as a title winner already, but in the form he's in, it's essentially up to all the other riders to try and close him down and take it away from him, because at the moment he's just flawless. He's absolutely relentless in terms of speed.
Well, the rest of the top 10 make their way through. It's Jim Lovell second, Reece Stevenson third, Mostica in fourth, Chase Collymore up to fifth, Chloe Jones in seventh, and Phil Dickens, Jake Whittaker rounding out the top 10 in what was a very close battle on the edge of the top 10. The rest of the midfield runners making their way through now at the end of this Pitbike Spares Stock 160 Group A race. Some very competitive riders, but no one could match the 55 of Ryan Tyers. We've got Group B will be out in just a few moments.
Big gap between the last race and the present one, so unfortunate there, and I know that's very frustrating for a lot of the people watching along, but it does mean, of course, that we can go racing again now. And that's obviously a good sign, because if it was a particularly severe incident, then we wouldn't be able to start racing again. But obviously, we're trying to get through as much of the program that is left of races as physically possible, and it will all be down to essentially how much of that we can complete now.
So after the delay, we wait for the racing to get underway. The flag is about to drop, and this is the Pitbike 60. Group A gets underway. Rhys Stevenson with a great drive round the outside. He really got away well.
Oh,
and a
dear, oh
high-sider
dear.
on the first corner. Caught the back wheel. Rider seems to be okay. We didn't get the number of that rider.
I think that's Mostica, potentially, the
Possibly.
27. So certainly one of the riders from the very front end of the field that's basically been spat out of the queue there.
Just caught the back wheel and nowhere to go. High-siding off them. The rider is still down. Unfortunately, I dread to say, let's hope that we can get things. A red flag has been displayed. He has still on the ground. So that was all of 30 seconds, unfortunately.
This is silly.
So trouble there. Just caught the back wheel. Down he went. Who was one of the front runners will
This is the eagerness. You see, this is the eagerness and the insistence to go racing again, and the urgency to get back into the action one more time. But unfortunately, we've just had a red flag that's been very much extended, and now another rider gone down at the run through Oblivion and into Crook.
Just a bit of bad luck there. Just seemed to front wheel went away, just got taken out by one of the riders in front. Just a bit of bad luck there as they went through, and quite a hefty tumble. That run through Oblivion, that first corner, it's a very fast part of the track, so we do
way through. But we are now obviously in a situation where the riders are obviously in the same boat as each other. They just want to go racing, but they have to make sure that it's done to the correct procedure. Lovely drone pictures again over the course of this very picturesque circuit, just a stone's throw away from Silverstone, which is about 20 minutes drive away from this circuit. And a lot of the...
So here we go then. As you can see, the riders are now lining up on the grid for the restart of Pitbike Stock 160 Group A. I'm sure it will be a bridge program, of course. Slightly shorter races. Had a few incidents today, unfortunately, a few red flags. So the program has been delayed slightly, and we hope to get as many of the races through as possible. The riders now lining up on the grid. Let's hope for a clean start. Once the action gets underway, there's a couple of more riders making their way around the final corner, and we should be way minus, of course, JJ Cunningham. You'll see the third place grid absent at the moment, of course, due to that red flag incident, and he's currently receiving some medical attention. Last few riders now lining up on the grid, and we should be ready for the restart of Group A in a few moments. This is the Pitbike Stock 160 class. Flag is about to drop, and away we go. Great start on the outside from the 1-2-3 Rhys Stevenson. Nice drive into the first corner from Ryan Tyres, and let's hope it's clean this time. Seems to have got through okay. Up the hill they go for Christmas for the first time.
Yeah, another brilliant start from Stevenson. He's really been able to utilise the outside line to charge forward and get one over on Ryan Tyres as they head through the first few corners of the lap. So far, so good, and I am touching wood as I say that, so it's very important to make sure we get through all the way. That's the table in front of me for anybody who's a little unsure, but the battle is still raging up at the front. Stevenson there with Ryan Tyres up at the front end. Jim Lovell doing well to hold the bike in third position. But this is a tough race now for Stevenson to hold on to. He's got the initial drop, but Tyres is going to absolutely blast out of the blocks, and he now wants a chance to come forward. So the riders just getting themselves up to speed as they come through the toe of the boot and then up towards the heel. And this is where riders are really going to start to push it.
Here we go around the final corner, and the number 7 of Chase Collymore looking strong at that final corner. As we watch the 55 of Ryan Tyres got a great drive out of the corner, although Stevenson cuts the front end off a bit there going up to Christmas corner, and the 97, the rider to look out for right now, Jim Lovell. Coming down towards Ashby, we should see on the drone footage there in the centre of your screen, going down the outside of Stevenson, and he got the apex there but got squeezed out, and Stevenson holds on to the lead. It's Tyres in second, Lovell third. Those top three breaking away somewhat now from Brad Copland, James Mostica, Chloe Jones, who Jake spoke to earlier, currently 6th at the line last time round from Chase Collymore as the third place rider, 97.
You'll notice they're being quite a bit more deliberate with their overtaking moves. That's because they've got less time to do them. This is only a 5-lap sprint, And as they come across to the end of the second lap, they've only got 3 laps to go because of the reduced time of the program. So Tyres cannot afford to wait around here behind Stevenson. He's got to get on with this now, and Stevenson knows that, so he'll know that Tyres is being quite desperate in terms of his bids to come by. So Stevenson just needs to keep it on the inside apex, well planted, and he's got a good opportunity. But look at Tyres, he's so fast on the throttle coming out of Christmas. He needs to make this run into Ashby. But he's
nice.
No, that's worked perfectly because Stevenson actually ended up with a knee on the curb, and that made him stand in the seat, so he's not able to get the good purchase off the hairpin, and Tyres made mincemeat of him. That was such a well-judged move.
That was your textbook block pass there, squaring the turn-off on the way down to Ashby and taking the front wheel fairly, of course, away from Stevenson to prevent him from making the repass, and that has worked to perfection because you can see now that Tyres has pulled a small gap at the front. Stevenson's still second, Lovell third, and that really was a textbook block pass to Ashby, taking the front wheel away and fairly, you would say, preventing the opponent from repassing. So these top 3 really have broke away now. The 4th placed rider, Brad Copland, on the 32 is over 4 seconds down, which is light years in effect in this race. We've got 2 laps to go. Any one of these 3 could still win, although at the moment Ryan Tyres has got the lead and is trying to get a good lap in and pull away.
And then, of course, you've got the likes of Mostica and Collymore still scrapping away with Copland for that 4th place. Chloe Jones doing a fair job there in 7th place ahead of Clark. But this is a really tight run now for Stevenson because he's been caught out essentially by Tyres. So he knows he's not got long to do anything about it. And essentially now he's in a race for 2nd position. He can't catch up to Tyres, who's really bolted out of the blocks now and started to stretch away. So this last lap is going to be about hanging on to 2nd place from Jim Lovell. He can't go for the win anymore.
Whoops. Further down with the rider going onto the grass. No, sure. I don't think it's Quincy, it's another one of the blue bikes. But
it's
at
up
the
at
front,
Parker.
Yeah, Parker was it, sorry?
Oh, it's up at Parker.
Up at Parker, sorry, beg your pardon. Ryan Tyres, your race leader, running well as we see this battle on the edge of the top 10. There's the 27 of Mostica as Chase Collymore has a peek down the inside of the 56. Collymore, one of the young stars of British mini bikes, and certainly running well on this final lap as we cut back to the leaders. And at the moment, it looks like Ryan Tyres has got enough in the bag. Waved yellows with that incident a bit further down the track. Nothing serious, but the riders will have to maintain position as they make their way through. It looks like Ryan Tyres at the moment has got this one in the bag.
Yeah, he's settled it really nicely as they come through the final couple of corners. He's really made this one his own.
Ryan Tyres then one more corner to go. Great move at Ashby to take the checkered flag, and he takes a well-deserved victory. Rhys Stevenson has to settle for 2nd place. Jim Lovell 3rd. It was all about those 3, and the rest of the top 10 go through. James Mostica, Chase Collymore on the last lap up to 5th position from Brad Copland. Chloe Jones and Ryan Clark just a little bit further behind. So certainly took a while to get that race back underway, but you would say, Jake, it was worth the wait.
It certainly was, and for Ryan Tyres, you know, he really made that one come to him, essentially. He didn't panic about the fact that Stevenson got a better start. He knew he didn't have long. He knew he only had about 5 laps to get the move done, but once he knew where Stevenson was going to be vulnerable on that first part of the lap, he thought, right, well, Ashby is where I can get it done. If I squeeze him into position, I'll be able to maximise the throttle off the turn, stand on the brakes. If I force him to the inside curb to try and get the switch back, I might be able to unsettle him, which is exactly how he did it.